Okay, number 2, it says you have a line, y equals mx plus 1. That's a y-intercept of 1 with a slope. I don't know what the slope is, by the way. But it goes on, it says intersects this ellipse exactly once. Then m squared is what number? And the first thing I do is, go to the whiteboard and try to visualize what they just said. All right, let's do that. And I'll visualize it. And what do you got? This is number 2. I have a line, and the line equals y equals mx plus 1. Gotta hold off on that, because graphing that, I don't know what m is to graph it out yet. But they do say this over here, x squared plus 4y squared is equal to 1. That's an equation of ellipse, by the way. So what I'm going to do is I want to draw that out. I can definitely draw the ellipse out. And the x, I'm going to set, there's points over here. And if you set y to be 0, you would get plus or minus 1 for x. So I'll put this over here, 1 and minus 1 over here. It's good, a rough graph. I'm not saying it's a good graph. And then if I set the x to be 0, what would you get over there? Plus or minus 1/4. I'm sorry, 1/2. Something like this over here. So I get an ellipse sort of like this over here. Not the best picture, but it's good enough for me, by the way. All right? This is going to be minus 1. This is going to be 1. This is going to be, a half down, so minus 1/2. I'm just putting the numbers on the coordinate system, and it's going to be 1/2. Now I got a line up here that goes through up here. I know that much. And what do they say? They say the line goes through the ellipse just once. So if you thought about this, it's got to have like a slope that does something like this over here. And what about over here? That would be a tangent. But you know what? I'm starting to see 2. There could be 1 over here. And again, I know not a great looking graph, by the way, but it's enough for me to visualize what's happening. All right, so what do I know about? I know m. Let's just do one point, by the way. Let's talk about this point over here, x and y. And there's symmetry over here. If I looked at this thing over here, there's another x, by the way, but the y's are the same. And what would that be? It would be minus x. There's symmetry, all right? There's definitely symmetry. So I'm looking really for a tangent line, and I got to do the derivative of that ellipse now. So let's put this down. So it's going to be 2x dx dx plus 8y dy dx equals 0. I want to solve for dy dx, and what do you get there? Let's see, you would get minus 2x over 8y, and that would reduce to minus x over 4y, all right? Now I want to point out, I have a point here, and the point here is going to be 0, 1. So I know what m is. And again, I'm going to use a point, and I want to tell you what point I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using 0, 1, and I'm going to be using the point xy, with the understanding that x and y are positive numbers looking at my picture. All right, let's write this down now. All right, I know the slope there, the slope of a tangent line, is just going to be minus x over 4y. And that's going to equal, well, I'm going to do the slope formula. So it's going to be, y minus 1, that's a change in y, over x minus 0. All right? And let's see if we can figure that out. Let's see what we get there, right? So what do you get? You would get minus x squared. That's not so bad. Then you get 4y squared minus 4y. I think I did okay there. And then I can write this down as, let's take a look. It's going to be 4y squared plus x squared is 4y. And this looks pretty familiar to me because I know about this. And what is this equal to? Well, that's the original equation they gave me, just the number 1. So 4y is just the number 1. Now, what does that mean? It means y is a quarter. What's the x going to be? Let's figure that out. And so I go back to my original equation. It's x squared plus 4y squared is equal to 1. X squared plus, well, if I square a quarter, you get a 16th, and 4 times 16 is a quarter, and that equals 1. And what's x squared going to be equal to? 3/4. What's x equal to? Well, as expected, plus or minus the root of 3 over 2. I'm expecting that, by the way. I'm seeing that, plus or minus the same number. And what's that number going to be? It's going to be root 3 over 2. Now someone says, what's the question? The question, what's m squared? Well, let's write down m. And what's m going to be? And certainly, if y is 1/4, the x could be those two numbers over there. All right. So what's m? Let's go through that again. There are a bunch of formulas down for it. I'm going to use this one here. And that's going to be minus x, so it'll be minus plus root 3 over 2. That's the opposite of x, by the way. And what's y? Y is 1/4, so you get 4 times 1/4. What does that give you? Minus plus root 3 over 2. But they didn't ask for that. They asked for m squared. What's m squared going to be? 3/4. And we're done. Thank you.